Hello there. Welcome to something I'm just gonna put out there I have never done before, but I thought I'd give it a go. It's gonna be a podcast style conversation where I don't have anyone else here, it's just myself having a conversation with you, except I'll be doing most of the talking. I plan to do this hopefully every couple of weeks, maybe every month. Just talking about relevant topics in the world and in our lives at the moment, with also a little bit of light content as well to try and keep us cheerful during these very happy and progressive times that we live in. So yeah, if you want to hear me talk more, you can definitely subscribe to myself on YouTube. I am KBeatbot, or you can just call me my full name, which is Kelvin. That is all you'll know me as. No, definitely not. I will obviously talk about myself during these times and during this podcast, just to give you an essence of who I am. Really, my name is Kelvin. I am Scottish. I live in Edinburgh, and I like a lot of things, as do a lot of people. Currently, right now, I have the French Open women's singles final on the way, and looks like Swiatek is destroying Kenin at the moment, which is I think a lot of people predicted. But we're going to have that on the background whilst we have a conversation. And as I said, it's going to be a conversation where it's only me, but I'm talking to you. So I'm going to ask you questions. Obviously, I'm not going to hear your responses because it's a one-way communication tool. But hopefully, we can open up a dialogue between ourselves. Um, and I must let you know that a lot of my opinions are going to be in jest. Some of them will be serious, but a lot of them will be in jest. I am a very sarcastic person. So let's just start off with how's your 2020 going? Mine's been great. It's really flown by. There's not been any issues at all or anything to really speak about of this year. So yeah, I think we know where we're going to be going with first. Just let me break down the content. First, we'll kind of talk about what's been going on in the last year. Well, almost 9, 10 months now. It's been coming up to. Um, then we'll talk about the protests and how this has affected hospitality, especially in Scotland, and it will be enforced in England, I think, from next week. It is Saturday today, the 10th, by the way. It's a very kind of miserable, gloomy day in Edinburgh. I'm looking outside. It's a bit depressing. Everyone here is a little bit depressed, I think. But moving from there, so we're going to talk about the pandemic, then the protests, hospitality, how that's affected everyone there in that sector especially. Then we'll go on to just to kind of lighten up the mood a little bit more cultural wise and the Ellen DeGeneres show. Not on the toxic work environment, we will touch on that, but on what her show is now kind of failing in ratings at the moment. Then I want to talk about a film I saw recently called The Social Dilemma. I think a lot of people have seen that. I've had some conversations with them. It's very eye-opening and scary a film to actually watch. So we'd like to just kind of touch on that. And then finally, we're going to do a little swipe on Tinder and Hinge just to see what kind of interesting profiles and answers we get. Now, I am a straight male, so there will be predominantly women, but I'm not going to be sitting there saying that women are terrible in their profiles. I am still single. I think it's just funny just seeing what people write, and I think people also in these kind of dating apps they do take the piss, which is funny. Oh God. No. So yeah, we'll just kind of finish on that. I hope that this won't be a long one. It could be 12 minutes, it could be 3 hours. But I just wanted to have a conversation just to see, how we're all doing. So yeah, how is our 2020 going? Well, I mean, it's been a bit of a up and down year, isn't it? And when I say up and down, down primarily, yes. Um, I don't know. I was thinking about this. Okay, now do you remember? I think years are progressively getting worse. I think this started from. Do you guys remember back in 2016? That was the year of every celebrity basically died. And everyone was saying, "Oh, this is the worst year ever. Everyone is dying. Everyone is, there's no more celebrities anymore." I mean, I think in that year alone, so I'm just looking at here. So in that year alone, 2016, we lost David Bowie on the 10th of January, Alan Rickman, Terry Wogan. I mean, these are legends in the UK scene. Muhammad Ali, Prince, um, Gene Wilder. I mean, Willy Wonka. Like, what the? Nancy Reagan. Nah, no one gives a shit about her. I'm joking. There's so many celebrities died, and everyone was sitting there. I remember at the beginning of the year, and they were all on Facebook going, "Why is this the worst year ever?" Now, I think fast forwarding to today, I think they would trade in all those celebrities and maybe throw in David Attenborough, the Queen, the Kardashians, God knows who else, to actually have a 10% more of normality in this year. This is what's happening, people. Um, so yeah, 2016, I think people were saying that was the worst year ever, and now we're in 2020, and it's obviously got progressively. Well, I say progressively. It's very much at the top of the mountain of how bad it could be. But does that show maybe in a couple of years' time things could get worse? Things could get very much worse. What do you think about that? Do you think things could get worse from now? I mean, we are in a pandemic. So, I don't know. I was just thinking about that just now. I thought, that's kind of funny how in 4 years that's all done a U turn from there. Um, but yeah, I mean, we were in a lockdown. Well, when this all started, so let's just rewind back to when this all started. Was it back in December 2019? Almost 10, 11 months ago? It was, oh, the coronavirus. It's a little Chinese disease. It's not going to have any effect. Not going to have any effect on the rest of the world. We're all going to get along. We're going to do fine. And then over every week, you would see it just spreads across the East Asian countries, and then it would make its way over to Europe. And then Italy was affected enormously. I think Italy had the worst rate of time, and I remember speaking to people there, and I'm just sitting there going, "Hey, look, this is pretty bad. There's a lot of people dying here. A lot of them are, you know, I think in that part of Italy, it was the northern parts of Italy. There's a lot of elderly people there, and that's why it just really rampant through those areas. I mean, they're probably going to die soon anyway, so I'm not going to say it's deserved, but that's kind of what that is exactly what happened. And at that point, we were still, as the UK, we were still sitting there going, "Hey, just everyone, walk on in, come on, party's here. We're still going. Everything's open. Come on in, and we're going to keep partying, and we're going to keep going until the old Bojo address came through, and we had to stay home. And we did stay home, didn't we? I mean, we did. We did stay home for the first week or two. I think they were doing it in 3 week stages. So I think the first 3 week stages, everyone kind of behaved. I'm not going to say everyone was perfect, but we all kind of stayed at home, didn't see, anyone in particular, unless it was an emergency. We kind of followed the rules. But then I think it was Dominic Raab who said, "You know what? We're going to go into lockdown for another 3 weeks." And I think that's when you noticeably saw a change in people's attitudes, which I found hilarious. You would go down the park and you were allowed to, I think that at this point you were allowed to go out for an exercise with another individual but keep social distance of 2 meters. And that just opened the floodgates, and everyone started going to the parks because the pubs weren't open. Nothing was open. So the park became the bars, the restaurants. They became the nightclubs. And I remember myself going down with my friends to the park, and it was a free for all. It was an absolute free for all. People were all touching each other up. Not myself, I was touching up my friend, but not in that way. No, obviously I got them drunk first because I'm a respectful guy. But it was it was an interesting one to see that 3 weeks, and at that point people kind of gave up. They were like, "That's it, done." And now there seem to be a complete abundance to the rules, which I'm not going to sit here. I don't blame them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that kind of guy. But people have to break rules, and you know what? I don't blame them because I would be in the park myself, having a beer, chatting to people trying to shake my hand. I would say no because number one, I don't want them to touch me, and number two, I don't want COVID. That's the important thing. I don't like hugs and handshakes anyway. I appreciate people for who they are. They don't need to physically touch me unless I want them to. But that is more of a after 10 o'clock approach, not before 10. Before 10, no handshakes, no hugs. After 10, are you hot and do I want you to be touching me? Yes. Okay, then you can touch me. But that's it. That's only after 10 o'clock. And maybe on a Sunday. Um, so that's that's what I think really is people broke after 3 weeks, and then people are now complaining because people are breaking rules now. It's that that's not been the issue. The issue has been people have been breaking rules for months. It doesn't matter when you say they've been breaking rules for months. So lockdown has really had, I think, a defining effect on people, of course, on our herding community, and on the way we think, on the way that we think about other people in a social ideology. And it's been strange. It's been strange. It's definitely had different effects on other people. Um, I've got friends who live alone, or they even live with someone else, and they say that they're extremely lonely. I've got a friend who lives with their parents and family, and they say they're still lonely because they had to move in to their family home because they couldn't afford rent on their flat before. So they moved in the family home, and they said they feel more lonely because, of course, you love your parents, you love your family, but you can't have the same chats with them that you can with your pals or your flatmates or some stranger in the bar. So I think it's definitely having a huge effect on mental health. I think a lot more kids are getting abused at home now. I think the suicides are up from what I know. So that the lockdown has definitely been a rebellion of people trying to get out of the constrictions, as I think human beings try to do. So how does it affect you? I mean, for me, like I know that I started drinking a lot. Okay, now I've been a bar wench. No, I've worked in hospitality, a bar wench. Yeah, I'm an old 50-year-old woman called Helga who has pigtails and runs a German bar in Bavaria. No, I've worked in hospitality a long time. I've been around alcohol now for, I would say, working around alcohol for over 10 years. And so that means I do enjoy a drink, but not in the alcoholic stage where I have to wake up in the morning and my first thing is to go drink. Like, is it Father Jack and Father Ted? They should bring that program back. Even Father Ted's dead, but so no, I enjoy a drink, but I think during lockdown there's nothing to do, isn't there? So I think my drinking changed a lot during lockdown. So I went from getting a couple of cans of beer, which is what I would usually do. If I was to say I was going to stay in and drink some alcohol, I would go to the shop, maybe buy a couple of bottles, the couple of the big 660 milliliter bottles, a couple of them, or a pack of four. So a pack of four cans or a pack of four bottles. And then that'd be me done for the night. I was like, I'll drink that, and that'd be me done. But progressively over lockdown, I think I started to challenge myself and say, you know what? I could drink some spirits. I started to go into spirits more, and now I drink rum and coke. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I finished the bottle of rum, but I could easily finish the bottle of rum in a single night. That's not something to say that I'm impressed with, and I don't want you to be thinking that's great. It's not great. It's disgusting, and it's definitely affecting my health, I would think. But this is what the government wants. Okay, it's a conspiracy. They want to get you all really drunk so they can feed you the bullshit that they're giving to you. Okay, so you're never sober to understand what they're saying. All right? No, that's obviously a joke. Is it? It's not. It's obviously a joke. Like let's just check at the moment what the COVID figures are here in the UK, because things are escalating now. I would like to talk about what things are escalating to, because we've had lockdown, and as I said, I've drunk a lot of alcohol in lockdown. I've rearranged my flat several times. I'm working at home now, so I work at home. I open up a laptop and send some emails for a little bit, and that's it. That's my work now. Now, I'm not saying I'm complaining about that. I much prefer that than going into an office. The commute on the bus where you have to sit next to every single cunt in Edinburgh in one bus. They pack the bus so fucking full that you're basically sitting in the armpit well of a 25 stone man. Yeah, I don't miss that at all. No. Do I miss going into an office and talking to people that I don't like? No, I do not miss that at all. Do I miss having a manager on my back all the time because they can see me and they can see me playing on my phone? Because what? No, I do what I want. No, I do not miss that. I definitely prefer working at home, but it does mean it makes the home the office as well. And that escapism means that I need to now go outside a lot more. I need to go for a walk. I need to go take an hour, 2 hours out, just go outside and walk. And that's what I did during lockdown. I would just go for a walk, or I'd find a wall somewhere and play some tennis against it. Yeah, because that's what people do, and that again shows the mental strain I think it has on ourselves. Um, this restriction, this lockdown on us I think it has definitely changed people, and whether it's changed people for the worse, I would definitely be able to fight that argument. I think it also helps people as well. I think for people who, myself being hospitality based, people who go out every night, take a lot of drugs, drink every night, it can give them a rest and change their lives. I think I've seen that in a couple of people where you see that they have cleaned up during lockdown. So I think the minimal people is a good thing for, because they can work on themselves and make them better. But it's just, I think the negatives might turn people into worse people, or they will go for they will almost, I'm not going to say develop addictions, because I'm not saying I'm addicted to alcohol, but I'm sure that could be the case now, into bad habits. I say bad habits, whether that be drugs, alcohol, pornography, social media addiction. I think this enhances that. But again, I'm not an expert. I can't tell you. I would like to see the data, but I think that would be definitely the case. And what people are going crazy. I mean, I remember in lockdown on my street alone. I live in quite a compact street in the west of Edinburgh. There's a lot of flats here. It's high rise, not high rise flats, but there's 4 levels of the tenement buildings. And I would wake up. I'd be get woken up at 8 o'clock in the morning by just screaming out the windows. And it's not just the one or two crazy guys, it'd be several people in their flats just screaming, just not even coherent in any language, just screaming. And I would sit there and I'd be like, well, this is a great Tuesday morning, like, what's going on? So, the, I think the mental impact on people is definitely significant, and there's definitely going to be a lot of research on I think there should be a lot of research on how this has affected humans and people in a way that their mental capacity has given up almost, because a lot of people have given up. A lot of people now just, I think they have no care for themselves and other people, and that's why you see also a lot of people breaking rules. Now, I'm not saying you need to follow the rules. I will debate that also further along when I talk a bit later on. But it's definitely something to consider here. So I'm just going to look at the total cases at the moment. So because there's a lot of arguments for and against the current measures we're going through. As I said before, Scotland is now, the bars and pubs are closed as of yesterday from 6 p.m. the 9th of October. And it was a Friday, which is very sad news in my eyes. I think hospitality. Well, no, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to see two ways to it, but it's very sad news in my eyes. So I'm looking at the deaths here. So currently in the UK, 42,679 deaths. Cases of 576,000. That's a lot of cases. Deaths wise, okay, am I only one? Okay, that's a lot of people dead, and I'm not going to be disrespectful and say, oh, that's not a lot of people, but that doesn't sound like a lot of people to me. 42,000 is a huge amount of people, but surely there are more lethal diseases there, if I'm being honest. Um, and that shows you the cases to deaths, and those are the recorded cases as well. People are, a lot of them are asymptomatic. I can't say it. Asymptomatic. So those are the recorded cases. So I would say that's probably 1 million. But then I'm just guessing. I could be. I am wrong. I am 100% wrong. Don't listen to me there. But let's think that those cases are a lot higher than that. And the deaths, a lot of them have been recorded as COVID. But as we've seen in some media, a lot of it on Facebook, so you know it's fake. But as we've seen in the media, they could be allocated COVID death. But all of these people who are dying are in their late 70s, late 80s. They're people who are basically on their deathbed, people with pre-existing conditions, people who had terminal cancer, people who were very, very sick anyway. So it does put it in perspective. This is, I would say, a small amount of people. Now, this is controversial. It's obviously a controversial conversation. This disease does not really affect directly people under the age of 60. They're saying under the age of 60, you still can have dangers from COVID if you're under the age of 60. I'm not saying that, but it is only really threatening, life-threatening to people over the age of 60, 70, 80, or above, of course. People with weaker immune systems. And I think that's something we can all definitely take away. I mean, even the First Minister said, I think I remember her saying, about a week ago about how this is affecting primarily older people, but it doesn't, escape young people. So she knows that this is definitely a problem for old people. Um, and this is, I think, the issue of contention that we have to raise, or I don't think have to, but that has been raised, is why is it affecting everyone else? Why are we going through all of this for, I'm going to be very blunt here, and I'm not joking when I say this, I am being completely serious, no sarcasm, but why are we going through for all this for people who are going to be vulnerable, of course, and we love people who are vulnerable, and you obviously don't want to lose them, but people who are on their way out anyway, people who are in their late 70s, in their early 80s, any age above 60, 70, why are we going above and beyond and making sacrifices for them when their time is up anyway? Like, if we save them today from a COVID disease, they could die next week from pneumonia. They could die next week from flu. Why are we making the sacrifice here when, as straight as possible, and they are on their way out? Now, that's a horrible thought to think, but it's one I think all young people think about. Because we're the ones making the sacrifice. Now, I'm putting myself in the context of a young person. I'm 31, almost 32 actually. But I'll put young people in the age range of, for my own content and happiness, we'll put it under the age of 40, okay? So people under the age of 40, why are we making all the sacrifices? Why are we doing all the sacrificing for people who are vulnerable anyway? And I kind of had a little thought about this with one of my friends. We had a conversation, and I was just saying to them, just like, why are we making the sacrifices? If you think of anyone who has disease, like myself, I am diabetic. I'm a type 1 diabetic. Now, the sacrifice I have to make is that I don't eat sugar as much as I should. I'll eat sugar if I need to, if I'm feeling low in sugar. So why am I? But that wouldn't make sense to me if, well, sugar should not exist anymore because it still makes things nice. Sweetness is nice. People like sweet things. People like sweets. People like chocolate. People like cake. Now, you may be fat if you love the cake, okay? That's fine, okay? You're probably going to die before me. But those are sacrifices I, as an individual, a diabetic, have to make so that I don't sacrifice my life or my health. It's the same with gluten. You don't eat oats or you don't eat those products that come from barley because if you were, you would get very sick. So you wouldn't be able to breathe. You get a very severe allergic reaction on how you react to oats and gluten products. So the sacrifice for someone who has to be gluten-free is they don't eat these gluten products. The same for AIDS. You don't fuck some guys in the ass. That's a joke, but if if you are diagnosed with HIV or AIDS, the sacrifice is that you have to be careful when when I say careful, you have to be very stringent in who your sexual partners are, in making people aware, and you have to be very careful yourself in protection, in medication. But that doesn't mean, though, that because I'm diabetic, that everyone else doesn't have to eat a chocolate bar, that they don't have to eat a cake, that they don't have to have sugar on the cereal. I don't recommend it, but those resources are there, and it's what people like, and it's what makes some people happy. Yes, it can be addictive, but that's something we have, and that's sort of something that gives a pleasure to someone. But we're not asking as diabetics for everyone to sacrifice their sweets, their delicacies, their happiness for the small percentage of diabetics. As in gluten as well. We're not, as gluten-free people, wouldn't be saying, hey, everyone needs to stop eating your oats in the morning. You need to all be on gluten-free diets. No, because that would not work. It's just because there's a small percentage of gluten-free people, they have to make the sacrifices, as I have to make the sacrifice. As I said, and even to link it to AIDS, you have to be more careful. Sometimes you have to be very careful on your sexual partners and who you pick and your awareness and the medication. That doesn't mean that everyone else has to. Of course, they should. You shouldn't just be going up to the harbour and just picking up any old Joe. But you should be able to do that because you are free of choice. And they're not asking, you don't see people with AIDS and HIV saying, oh, well, you can't be having sex with anyone, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing this without protection. No, you don't see that. So, now, this may be a very flawed argument. I'm sure people are going to disagree with it. However, that kind of concept of sacrifice, why do we have to sacrifice as young people our lives, our fun as hospitality, our jobs, our lives, our traveling, anything for the small percentage of people who are affected by this disease? Now, I'm not just solely suggesting here that it is just young people. It is obviously everyone that's sacrificing here. And I'm not sitting here saying that every 70, 80-year-old, 60-year-old should be locked up in the house, all put in ventilators, and they should never come out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, why are we sacrificing everything for them? Should they not sacrifice more on their parts? Is that maybe something too much to ask? Do you think? I think that might be a rational aspect to go through. We still need to have an economy. we still need to have jobs. We need money to survive. Okay, otherwise it's going to end up like the Holocaust. And then we'll see Rishi Sunak going, "Hey, do you want to come into this shower and have a shower?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, does it give me money? Yeah, I'll give you £3 and a Freddo. Okay, I'll go in the shower." And then, okay, that's where it might go to. Okay, the sacrifices that people are making for this pandemic, for this disease, are enormous. And I think it's getting to the point now where there needs to be more control measures on people who are very vulnerable, who are the most vulnerable. We need to understand how to live with something like this, as we have done with diabetes, with people who need to be gluten free, as we have with AIDS. I mean, people can have great lives who are HIV and have AIDS. They can live full lives. They can still have children. That's amazing. So why can't we think about solutions in that way, rather than thinking, well, okay, everyone has to sacrifice for the few? There is a saying from Spock, isn't it? What's Spock saying? Oh, I can't remember it. Give me a second here. For the many, yeah. What did you say? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And that's exactly what this principle looks at. Now, I am playing, devil's advocate on one side, and I am not completely on one side or on the other side of the argument. I'm just speculating on some ideas, and that's just one idea I've had. Um, but it was interesting for me to think about these kind of things because yesterday I did go to a protest, and it was a protest outside the Scottish Government building, and there was chat on Facebook essentially about, obviously in Scotland they're closing all bars for 2 weeks up until the 25th of October. Thanks, Nicola. My birthday's on the 22nd, you cow. It's okay, no one's coming anyway. It'll be just me and a bottle of rum. But anyway, so there was talk on Facebook when the measures were introduced on Wednesday about a peaceful protest in regards to the hospitality sector in Scotland. And what this means is that the bars won't be open. They um, can't even open beer gardens anymore. It's almost like a lockdown again in the central belt of Scotland. I think in the north of that, I think in the borders, they can still open, but they have to do non-alcoholic drinks in between the hours of 6 a.m., 6 p.m., and then only outside they can do till 10 p.m. Which is mental, which is crazy. You think, okay, so if you're inside, you can't drink any alcohol. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, alcohol should be, reinstated. Oh, yeah, bring the booze. Like, as I said, I'm not an alcoholic as of yet. I'm on my way to. Um, but it's an interesting measure. A lot of anger from all sides, from hospitality sectors. A lot of people just want to get back to work. A lot of people want to, solidify their job. A lot of jobs have been lost. A lot of people are bored at home. A lot of people who worked in hospitality, they've been sat at home for a few months and they don't know what to do. They've been bored. There's been nothing to do. And a lot of people, this is their careers and they want to build something. And they've lost a year almost in their career ladder. Now, you might think, well, that might help them, but a lot of jobs and a lot of roles have been deleted now because of this pandemic. For example, at a bar I know, they have a lot of managers. Let's just say too many managers. Was this a problem before COVID? No, because we needed the managers there to open up shop and to sit in the office for 4 hours playing on their phones. We needed that, okay? We need that support. But the directors of the company decided, well, you know what? We no longer need that many managers. We know now that we're just paying people to sit in the office on their phone. So maybe we should get rid of the roles there. So they got rid of the most senior role in the bar, the general manager, and they're thinking about releasing another manager position, including other staff, so other bartenders and floor staff and whatnot. So a lot of companies now are going to get smart about what they're doing, about how their staff are performing. So people who want a career in hospitality, their roles are getting limited just in progression. And this is such a niche subject and the whole atmosphere of how this is affecting hospitality. People are losing jobs. One of the first things that happened when lockdown was basically initiated, was so many bars were closing and they're releasing staff and saying, right, no longer got a job, bye bye. Luckily, the furlough scheme came along. The furlough scheme is actually really good, I think. 80% of your wages get paid. Obviously, not enough, I don't think, but still great. But a lot of people lost their jobs, and then the bars rehired them, but the bars are still closing. So you've got thousands of people in Edinburgh alone without a job, without an actual place of work. They have to go move home. One of my friends, he quit his job. He's an idiot. If he's listening to this, you know who you are, okay? um, I won't name him by name, okay? But he quit his job. He actually worked in the bar with me, actually. He quit his job about a week before lockdown, and then he was like, oh, I can't go back and ask for furlough because of the way he quit. He was just kind of, he didn't really quit in the best way, shall we say. And so now he has to go clean trolleys in Tesco. I'm not discrediting that job in any way, but I think he would have much preferred having the furlough payment, having those months off, than rather actually getting up and going to work every day. That's what I think he's thinking. And I think he does regret it, and we've definitely spoke about that. So it's quite funny. But yeah, a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people also I think this is what is important about hospitality as well, is a lot of people are missing out on tips. Now, people don't understand the realization of how important tips are to hospitality, to people, how they work in their lives and making their quality of life better. Tips can make up from and again I'm guessing here, but they can make up in the UK from, I would say, depends on the place, 5% to 20-25% of your wage packet. If it depends on the place, some may be less, some may be more. It depends on the actual system of the place. Now, furlough doesn't take into account tips. So you get an 80% of your wage packet, but you're losing, let's say, for example, 20% of tips, which make up your wage packet. You're losing 40% of your wages there. That's a huge amount. That's taking you down to 60%. That's huge. If you think your rent costs, say 60, 50% of your wage slip, that takes away almost all your money is going to rent. So then you've got no money to live. So there's a big sacrifice for people on the furlough because most bar workers are on minimum wage. They're not going to be making that much money. A lot of them are new and they're getting an average of their wages for the furlough. So a lot of them will be getting less than what they usually would do on a full-time salary. It's a big struggle for people out there. It's a big struggle, isn't it? Now, if you work in a bar, what do you think about this? How are you surviving? Do you have to get another job as well? Are you working in another job? I know people that I was talking to a guy yesterday and he works in the kitchen. He's been put on furlough, but he has to also work 4 days a week in a takeaway because the furlough doesn't help him with his mortgage, his wife, and his kid. They've got nothing. They rely on him as a sole earner to bring all the money in, and he can't afford that. This just shows how important tips are. So it's been a big kick in the balls, I think, for hospitality. And as I was just going on a bit of a tangent there, but I attended a protest yesterday. Yes, I am a liberal. No, I attended the protest yesterday because there was a lot of chat on Facebook. And yes, I'm a boomer and I use Facebook, but that's where most of this communication comes from. About protests around Scotland in Aberdeen, Glasgow, and Edinburgh, where I'm based, where bars would collect ice and drop it in front of important landmarks in each city. And the one in Edinburgh, some bars got buckets of ice and dropped it in front of the government building. And I went along myself. I actually had a little bag of ice in my freezer, which I've had for, I would say, 4 years. 4 years of ice. So, I don't use ice in drinks. I only had it, I think, for an ex-girlfriend who wanted to drink ice in I can't remember. But I don't do it. If I'm having a rum and coke, I'll just pour the rum and coke. I don't need ice in it at home. If I go to a bar, I expect ice, full glass of ice, and 2 limes. I want my Cuba Libre the way I want it. Um, but no, at home, I'm just gonna just pour what the hell I want. I'm getting drunk. So, what was I saying? So yeah, I had this bag of ice. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go to the protest. I'm gonna chuck my ice. Now, as I said before, this ice has been in there for 4 years, so it's melted a little bit. Not melted, but it's formed an ice pack. So basically, it was like a 30 centimeter rock of ice. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to this protest and I'm going to see what's going on. A lot of my friends are hospitality based, so I might see some people I recognise. I took a long walk down from the west of Edinburgh to the Royal Mile and the Royal Mile. And whilst I was walking down the Royal Mile, I saw a few people walking with bags of ice, and I thought, you know what? This is going to be kind of cool. This is going to be kind of cool. I got there, and there was a big pile of ice on like a platform in front of the Scottish government. It's like a little platform where the water is, the little pond that they have there, and they was just starting to light up the dry ice. which was kind of cool. It kind of did look kind of cool. I found the ice might a little bit underwhelming, but you've got to understand that you put cubes of ice in, it's going to spread. So it was actually a huge amount of ice, but it just kind of spread. And I was expecting like something which I could climb, something which was going to be 6, 7, 8 feet tall. But you know what? For what it was, I'm quite impressed because what I was more impressed was the amount of people were there. There was about, I would say, 100 people just watching this event. There was a guy in a guitar, of course, saying, what was I was singing? You're as cold as ice. I was like, great, good job, Barry. So that was there, and I was there about 6:30. So there was already quite a big pile of ice, and I had this big rock of ice in my hand. Now I noticed at the mountain of ice that it was all separate cubes. Obviously, this is coming from professional bars, so they're going to have ice which isn't melted, that's not been sitting in their freezer for 4 years. I hope not, unless it's the Hive. No disrespect. So I go there with this big rock of ice. I'm thinking, I'm by myself as well. Like, I'm not with anyone else, so I haven't got anyone there to support me. I can't see anyone that I don't recognize at this point. And I'm like a bit nervous because it kind of, it's like the sacrifice of Simba. Was he sacrificed? It's kind of showing Simba to the wildlife, So you've got the circle of life playing, it's building up, and I've got this block of ice, and everyone's clapping. They're going, "Yeah, come on!" And I walked up with my Sainsbury's bag, big block of ice, circle life playing, and I pull it out, and I hear a woman to the left of me laughing. I look at her, and I'm about 4 feet away from the block of ice, and just smash it into that mountain, and big cubes go up. And I just look round, and there's a person with a camera there, and I give him the old, not the V sign, but my pinky and my thumb out, because I'm cool. I'm a California guy. I just look at the camera, just do that, and I walk away. And that was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. No, no, it was hilarious. But I kind of hung around for about half an hour. I spoke to a couple of people. There was some police there. I think they were just kind of bored because there was nothing going on. It was a peaceful protest, but it's understandable on what. Oh, Swiatek won the first set. Apologies. It was understandable about the anger that people were feeling. It's understandable about why so many bars turned up because I mean I stood there for half an hour and this was going on from about 6. I think it was on going on till about 8, 9 o'clock at night. And in the space that I was there, about 30, 40 people from different bars, different areas turned up with just bags of ice, and they were small, some of them were large, and just piling them on. And it just shows you the sacrifices people are willing to make. At the end of the day, these people don't need to go to this little mountain. They just need to close the bar and go home or have a few drinks. Finish off the keg. So it was kind of interesting to see that these were all people in the same boat. They've seen these posts on Facebook and are able to kind of come collectively together. I found that very. I'm not going to say empowering because it's not. It's not going to change anything. Let's be honest. This isn't going to make Nicola go, "Oh, there's a big pile of ice at the government. Well, we better open up every bar." But I think the symbolism of it was not a strong symbol, but it was a little bit of a message to say we're pissed off. We don't like this. Now, in reflection of the actual protest itself, I saw the logistics of it happening during this Facebook discussion, and it was interesting because there was a lot of debates on what people should do. I think some guy just came up on the Edinburgh Bartenders page and said, "Why don't we just pile a bunch of ice and it'll be a symbol? Kind of like Batman, it'll be a symbol. We won't kill anyone. We'll break their legs, but if we're the bats, we can show a symbol. And I think that kind of ran away with it. But what I want to know is this is not going to be I think the first time they're going to close the bars and restaurants. I think this is going to be, I think, a series of closures. I think, and I'm just speculating here. This could be completely wrong. So, what happens next? Because if we just break down hospitality for a second here, I'm just going to have a quick drink of water, rum. What is next? The comments on creating this protest were very, we need to make it a peaceful protest, it needs to be a symbol, which I'm all down for. I really am all down for. I think that's an incredible message to serve, even if, and it's good that I think it got the media coverage. I think it was on BBC News. I saw it was on BBC News this morning. A lot of local newspapers have reported about it. But as I've said before, this is this I don't think will be the first lockdown of bars and restaurants. So what happens now if they after October 25th that they open up again for another month? Maybe you push it till Christmas. I don't think they will push Christmas too hard. But then it comes to January, and obviously all the bars have to close again. I would say, I would reckon. I'm speculating. I'm not an expert. I don't know. And if you work in hospitality, you know we work with a bunch of psychopaths. Okay, everyone who works in hospitality has at least 65 mental diseases each. And I think lockdown has added another 28 of them onto them. So we are a very temperamental bunch. We are generally a young bunch of people as hospitality folk. And we're also quite angry at the moment. Now, what happens if we go into another lockdown? What's the message then? I think things will get a little bit more extreme. I think that the ice dump is great. I think the symbol is fantastic. However, people are gonna get angry. People are gonna get upset. People are gonna start taking things into their own hand. I think. I don't want this. I'm just saying people are gonna start taking things into their own hands. Instead of gonna be ice dump in front of the Scottish Government, it's gonna be actual fucking dumps in front of the Scottish Government. People are gonna start throwing their own shit at the windows of the government building. People are gonna start throwing rocks at the government building. People are going to go to Charlotte Square and start screaming at Nicola's house. There's going to be a lot of contempt, I think. And I think that will definitely submerge if there is another lockdown of hospitality. As I said, I don't know, but that could happen. It is very dystopian to think, but I think this is just the beginning. I think we're going to see fires soon. And if you've seen that new David Attenborough, his written statement on Netflix, he predicted in the 2030s there's going to be fires around the world. I don't think that'll be 2030s. I think that'll be 2021. You're going to see Edinburgh on fire in 2021. Judge Dredd will need to be enforced. I can be him. I'll be Carl Urban. I'll walk round and I'll have a special bullet which blows out your brains by shooting it in your mouth. I can't remember that film. It was a great film though, wasn't it? I actually quite liked it. I think a lot of people said it was pretty bad, but I quite liked it. So yeah, that's it. I think that there is going to be a stronger protest in the future when hospitality does ultimately get butt fucked again by the government. And I just want to read quickly the comments of an article I saw on Facebook here. So this is an article. It's from edinburghlive.co.uk, if I could speak English. It says, in pictures, Edinburgh bartenders dump ice at Scottish Parliament in protest. And the picture they put, it's a good picture. There's some dry ice, and there's the amount of ice, and there's a big guy just empty it. It looks kind of actually kind of cool. It does look kind of cool. But I want to read some of the comments here because some of them are absolutely hilarious. So the first top comment is from, she looks like she's in her mid 150s, a woman called Janet. I'm not going to give her a full name, but her woman is a woman called Janet, and she says, have you all come up with a solution to the huge problem facing the government? No, Janet, we have not come up with a problem with facing the government, the huge problem facing the government, because we work in a fucking bar, you cow. Do we look like the government? No. Oh, but there's replies. There's a reply from a top fan called Alexandra. No, Janet, just good for moaning by the looks of it. Oh, so we're just moaning. Okay. No, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. There's a good comment here from Alistair. He says, a straightforward, positive, non-violent protest. That's good. Thank you, Alistair. That's actually a good comment there. Well done. He looks like he's in his mid-60s. Facebook is Boomerville, by the way, isn't it? Another positive comment here about the protest. Finally, a protest that gets the point across without bringing the city to a standstill, nor disaffecting the population of said city. What kind of protest is that? Where have you been getting Where are you going to get protests from, Chris? Well done. Let's hope these and all businesses get the support they need. Feel especially bad for the small independent businesses. That is correct, actually. These businesses will be greatly affected. The bar I work in, I only work in a bar once a week, but they are quite a big company, and I think they'll definitely be able to have reserves to kind of get them through. I think they own most of the buildings they live in as well, so they don't have to pay rent as much. Obviously, they have expenditure, but I think they'll be okay to kind of get through. That's a good point. Here's one from a guy called Ralph. Ralph looks like he's got a colourful hat and some sunglasses on, so he's not really showing his face. He looks like a golfer. So Ralph here says, ice, they dumped ice. What a terribly limp stance. This entire nation has lost its backbone. And that, I think Ralph kind of, as limp of a comment that is, he kind of hits the nail on the head there. That's the only first start of protesting and symbols that they're going to do. I think things are going to get a lot worse, and I'll discuss that in a little bit. Ronnie here, Ronnie's got it. I think she's got it. I think it's she or he. One of the two. Be better to boil the ice and have a nice cup of tea. That's the British answer you all been waiting for. Nice cup of tea. Yeah, cup of tea. Laura here says, what a waste of ice, money, time and effort. I'm going to look at Laura for a second. Let's have a look at Laura. Laura here definitely puts a lot of effort into her fitness because she is about 25 stone. And she's got pictures of a girl's tits out. What the... She needs put down. Yeah. And... Yeah. I think that's all they've got. Yeah, it's in the comments are mostly hashtags. Oh, here we go. I've got one actually. This will be the last one I'm going to read here. So, Andrew says, this country has an unhealthy attitude to alcohol. Oh, we've got one of those, have we? If no one can see, there has been a major shift in the economy. If folk took personal responsibility, we would not be in this situation. Andrew! You absolute legend, you hero. You just sit there with your little, what do they call, little Fanta, little bottle of Fanta. And you take personal responsibility there, Andrew. Thank you. He's got 11 likes as well. So yeah, that's so kind of reflecting back on what I was saying before there, and what was it, Ralph? What was he saying? Ralph? Ralph, yeah, what Ralph said. Where does it go from here? Because this isn't over. This is definitely not over. And as I've touched on before, the sacrifices are being primarily made by young people. Hospitality, a lot of people working in it are young, are under the age of 40. I'm not saying there's anyone that's over the age of 40 not working. I know a couple of people that are working over the age of 40 there, but they're still young minded. It's a young industry. So sacrifices are being made by young people and their jobs and their industry and their culture. When you're young, you go out to drink. When you're young, you go out and take a lot of drugs. When you're young, you go out, drink, drugs, and you go fuck some people. You go to parties, you go to festivals, you go to places around the world. You fuck shit up because you're young. That's what you do. And then these boomers on Facebook are telling you, "Oh well, this is a great idea. Melt the ice and make some tea." And you're like, you know what, Cheryl? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Cheryl. You had your time. Can we have ours? They've already fucked up the fucking economy for us anyway. It's alright back in your day when you could buy a house for fucking 20 quid, but now I've got to take out 3 ISAs, save £1,000 a month, and save for 12 fucking years before I even get half a deposit to pay on a fucking shed in fucking Granton. Thank you, Cheryl. Hold on. What's going on here? Sorry, I'm looking at the French Open. I think. Has Kenin been taken off? Oh, I thought. No. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, sorry, Cheryl. But where does it go from now? If there was to be another lockdown in hospitality, if there was, do we think that there needs to be a stronger message? Or if there was a lockdown in general, in any other capacity, because everything's getting shut again, does there need to be a stronger message? Are rocks going to be thrown? Are people going to be getting violent? I'm not advocating for it, but in history, peaceful protests, as strong as a symbol they are not, let's just say they're too smart for politicians, for people in office, because they look at something and they go, that's a pile of ice in front of the government, shall we get rid of it? They don't look at the message. They don't look at the sacrifice that's been made. They don't look at the work. They just look at that and they go, that's a pile of ice in the street. That's a bunch of young people throwing ice and they're having fun whilst they're doing it. They don't see the symbolism of it. What do they see? They see threats. They see violence. Now, I'm not condoning this. Of course not. Hell no. I'm not. But, as I've touched on before, we work with a bunch of psychopaths in hospitality. And they're going to be pushed to the limit because you do have the lowest of the low working in hospitality sometimes. We all know people that you don't want to hang around with in your work. And that can be in the office, in hospitality, anywhere. You have people you don't want to hang around with. So if they start getting angry and they start grouping together, what the fuck are they going to do? Things are going to get smashed. Things are going to start erupting. If these protests now don't lay a message and a foundation, then where does it escalate to? That's what you've got to think about. And that's what I think about. I think that people don't understand that you're affecting the biggest amount of people here, with the strongest voices. And that doesn't mean that they can be heard. They're not heard. They're never heard. But they can do the most damage, whether that's to society, whether they group up. If you think about it, if 1,000 people from the hospitality sector in Edinburgh started running riots through the town of Edinburgh and started smashing buildings up or started smashing up their work, went to the First Minister's house and started doing riots, they would definitely hear them then, wouldn't they? You would definitely hear about them then. Yes, okay, there'll be a lot of arrests, there'll be a civil unrest, and you could be a civil war, never know, but there'll be a message getting across. With this symbol of a protest, it's a symbol, and that's all it is, and it's just a symbol that will be misinterpreted. I think that symbol of the ice mountain really shows that people are pissed off. People want to work. People want to have money. They want to have a life again. They want to go back to normal. Things are never going to go back to that. But can we try and work to get to? Can we try and work to getting back to that? I don't know. And it's something which is going to be very closely monitored in the next few months. I think things are going to get worse before they get better. I think, and I'm not downplaying everything. I just think that there needs to be some changes in how we're tackling this. I think. I could be completely wrong. Kenan is coming back. She's fine. She's jogging. She's looking good. Good job, Kenan. Um, in relation to the actual COVID that we've had, um, Donald Trump got it, as a lot of you would know, which is hilarious. No, it's not hilarious. Like, you don't want him to die, do you? No. But he got it and he left the hospital. I don't know if any of you have seen the video of him leaving the hospital, but it's so funny. I mean, it's so funny, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I like Donald Trump. I'm not. I don't like him. I don't represent his party in any way. I don't represent his politics or his ethics or anything like that. But come on, the guy is so funny. He's such a funny. I mean, that presidential debate was a car crash, but it was a car crash because he made it a car crash. And that sometimes a car crash is funny. Sometimes you need to see an old junkyard car just a couple of junkyard cars just smash into each other and see bits flying about. It was so funny. Um, but anyway, there's these videos of him leaving the hospital, and I mean, I'm playing the video right now. I don't know if you can hear it. He's just coming out with a mask. He's in a suit, and he's so his fist is going. He's shaking his fist, and they've got pictures of him in the helicopter going to the White House. He's flown back to. He's always got to salute every officer when he comes off the helicopter. He's walking in a very melodramatic way, and then he kind of stands outside the White House, takes his mask off before he even enters the White House. So he's still got COVID, but he's like, you know what, fuck it. COVID cannot enter the White House. And he's saluting the helicopter. Like, why are you... Is that helicopter in charge? Is that what's happening? Is the helicopter in charge of everything in America? Is that why he's saluting? Because he looks like he's crying. He's crying when he's saluting that helicopter. Like,
I stood out front.
Okay.
I led. Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay if there's a risk or a danger. That's okay. He stood out and led. You know what, to be fair to him though, let's be honest here. Donald Trump is 74 years old and he's overweight, so he's in the risk categories for this, that he could pass away. Like, he could strongly die from this. And yet he's recovered seamlessly quite quickly. You know, he must be, I mean, to be honest, like, I'm not complimenting him, but for 74, his mind might not be all there, but he actually looks okay for someone who's got COVID. Like, he looks alright. He's so funny to watch and listen to. I mean, what's he going to say now?
And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know.
Maybe I'm immune. Maybe I am the cure to COVID. I am the Trump cure. Can you imagine, like, in a week's time, he starts selling bottles of, like, a little wig on top of them, like the Innocence movies is like a little wig, and it's a cure for COVID, and it's just his face on it. It's going to be $7,000 for just one bottle of this, and all it's going to be is like
Don't let it dominate your
lemonade.
lives. Get out there. Be careful. We have the best medicines in the world, and it all happened very shortly, and they're all getting approved. And the vaccine.
See, he this is the good thing about him. He's actually not good thing, sorry. This is what he's good at. He's a good salesman. Like, I don't believe him, but you know what? If he kept talking like this, I would believe him. I would believe that they have all the best medicines in the world, that they've got.
Vaccines are coming momentarily.
He's got cures. He's got a vaccine momentarily. I believe him. Like, I believe him a little bit. Like, I can't question that. I don't know why. He's a very good salesman.
Thank you very much. And Walter Reed, what a group of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Walter Reed. So, yeah, no, he's a funny guy, isn't he? He's really funny. Do I want him to win the election? To be honest, it's again choosing between two evils, isn't it? Hillary Clinton and him. I want Hillary to win, but she's a bitch. She's an evil woman as well. I don't know. Against Joe Biden, who basically is a puppet in a suit. I don't care. I'm not American. I'm not deciding this, but I would say to the American people, if there is any American people listening to this, I feel sorry for you. This is a tough decision, you know, and kind of as we have against Labour and Conservative, you know, we don't want to be looking at that. We don't want to be voting against that. We want, you know, something which is a little bit more grounding. But yeah, it's funny to see that Trump got that. But I mean, he's out of it. I think he's still wanting to debate, or he's not wanting to debate, and he's getting. He's a funny one. He's a funny one. He really is. So that's something to cheer us up on that note. So I think I've touched everything on what I think on the pandemic thus far. There's obviously a lot more to discuss, but in regards to hospitality there and young people, I think there's a lot of things definitely to delve into deeper here, but I don't want to be talking all day. No, you don't want to be hearing me talk all day about that. What do you think about it? Like what am I missing here? Am I missing something? I'm sure I'm missing hundreds and thousands of things, and I'm sure there's a lot of data to back against me. But do you think my comments are relevant? Do you think that those are relevant points to make? I don't know. I would love to be convinced otherwise. So please, you know, let me know if you're listening to this. Are you still listening to this? Let me know. Give me a message. You can follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on Spotify. You can follow me on Instagram. That's KBeatbot on Instagram, KBeatbot on YouTube, and I'll set up a Spotify. I have no idea what it'll be. Hopefully, it'll be KBeatbot. It'll be something along KBeatbot. But follow me on that. What do I want to talk about? So moving on to more negative news, but not really news that affects us that much. Okay, it's Ellen, fucking Ellen DeGeneres. So there's been a couple of news reports come out recently. Obviously, well, there's been a lot of news about Ellen in recent months about how basically her workplace has been a rape fest, how a lot of employees have been abused there. And I've actually heard about this. I don't know if anyone follows Kavos or any kind of those other YouTubers on YouTube. But I've actually heard about Ellen and about the way she is for a couple of years now. After listening to videos on YouTube about seeing statements and stuff on the internet about how she's a complete bitch, about how her workplace is very toxic, about how she is really pernickety about certain things. So a lot of things that came to surface was like how she made people chew gum to be around her, didn't have bad, so they didn't have bad breath. I think that's understandable. That okay, you're the boss. You want people to have good breath. It's not going to affect anyone. It may hurt their feelings. But again, with the Mariah Carey thing, where she announced that Mariah Carey was pregnant, but then she had a miscarriage, about how she, would embarrass audience members on setups that weren't their faults really. There was a lot of things about Ellen that kind of a lot of questions were rose, and there was I think a Reddit and a Twitter started about how employees at Ellen were treated unfairly, about how there was like I think employees that Ellen gets to choose an employee that she's mad at, so she would just start shouting at them. There's a lot of things that kind of surfaced, and she had to basically face them. So she started her first show with an apology. I saw the apology, and it was it was lackluster. It was too many jokes in it. I think she needed to be a little bit more serious with it and just kind of take accountability and just kind of say, what happened and why is she the way she is and what they're gonna do to improve that. She just kind of said very general um, statement, which it just didn't hit with any people. I think though that also kind of conflicts with the American British audience. Myself being British, I would never watch the Ellen Show because I think it's not it's not my kind of thing. It's just too cheesy. It's too much. It's too much cheese and late shows as well. They're kind of a no from me. And we'll discuss about that a little bit in a little bit later. But there's been reports now that the show's ratings have dropped by 37 or 38%. I'll read it here. So um, I'm reading an article here from Digital Spy, which is obviously a very reliable source. But audience drops 37% following toxic workplace accusations. It's its 18th season. And let's just have a look. Sorry, I need to accept cookies. Yes. No, I'm diabetic. Cookies are not for me. We're primarily taking the 29th season equivalent. So they take a 29% drop since the last season. So that's quite a huge drop. Um, so 1.7 average, oh sorry, 1.7 average view of 1.7. Hi, so it's me and the cat here. No, 1.7 million average viewers per episode. That's down from 37%. So they were over 2 million last year. And it's understandable, I think. But there is a couple of things I think they need to take into consideration here. Is that Ellen's obviously been outed severely here. She's been outed as this horrible person. I think some producers were done for sexual harassment. I think from what I understand, there was producers basically saying that they were too handsy with women and that there was misconduct in parties. So it wasn't just Ellen herself, but obviously she's the boss. She needs to be aware of everything here, and she just ignored it, obviously. So I think the internet is such a strong place of making this aware because this all came up from a BuzzFeed article. Number one, BuzzFeed, like what kind of bullshit place is that? But they're the ones who outed Ellen. Ellen is immortal almost. And she had such a good name for herself. I mean, she came out as being being a lesbian. Oh, what Swiatek is serving for the match. Just 2 secs. She's served a miss on the first serve. So 6-4, 5-1. Swiatek serving. Second serve, Kenin backhand. Swiatek. It's a forehand on the line. Big forehand. She's won the title, and she's won. And she's covering her mouth. She's 19 years old, and she's absolutely destroyed Sofia Kenin. She destroyed Halep, Kenin, Kvitova as well. She beat Kvitova quite handily as well. She's absolutely rampaged there. Well done, Swiatek. Good job. So, as I was saying about Ellen, what was I saying? So, the internet is a very strong place, and as I said before, BuzzFeed brought this up. And there was a lot more traction from the internet about Ellen. So you just literally, I think, for the middle of the summer, just every YouTube video from a commentary channel was about Ellen, about how she treated employees, about the workplace, about everything about the show that anyone could get a shred of evidence about. They would absolutely rip through into her. But it's also the fact that I think these shows are now becoming less popular because of the absolute absurdity that they present. They are so wild in that you have these, show hosts such as Ellen, and I'm going to put in the category here with Ellen, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, James Corden, all these kind of late shows, including Ellen's, The View as well. These ridiculously powerful people who are running the shows, who are the stars themselves, who are they're millionaires, they're absolutely loaded, and they run these shows, and they have these ridiculous ideas about how they can present themselves to be normal, and people are becoming more woke. I think they're becoming understanding of that. This is stupid, about how they have these ridiculous hosts who have these ridiculous people of Hollywood people. Hollywood's dying. Hollywood is dying. That's the basic understanding of it all. Is Hollywood is in a hole at the moment, and they're just trying to grasp anything they have. All live shows, all these late night shows are losing viewership. Ellen is the biggest one at the moment to kind of. She's not a late night show, but she's a day show to have people after her, but this will continue. The next show will be taken, and I think Lily Singh's had a lot of abuse from YouTube, especially because they're just not funny. They're not entertaining because they're not. They're not down to earth. They're not real people. What you see on the show there are fake people. Everything is fake. The interview is fake. Everything is planned. Everything has a control, and when things do lose control, it's cut out the edit. You rarely see these shows live. And I think the killer of these are now podcasts, are now the internet, because you go on a podcast, you can't fake that. You can't be fake for 2 hours. You can lie, you can definitely lie, but people can see in your body language when the interviewer says to you something difficult to answer that you're lying. And you can see that, I think, I remember on Joe Rogan when Dan Bilzerian came on, you can see there that Joe asked Dan, he goes, Dan, how did you make your money? And Dan's like, oh, I just won it through poker, and Joe's like, okay. And you can tell Joe knows he's lying, and we all know he's lying. But we all know that he got it from his dad, who got it from embezzlement. No one has won $50 million from poker in a year. Never mind a few games of poker. The top poker players in the world, I think they earned $38 million. I think that was last year or whatever. Dan Bilzerian did not make $50 million from poker. Think about it. He did not. And that's not a conspiracy. I'm not saying that. There's conclusive evidence that he did not make that. I think his whole company is fake. I think his house is rented. There's so many things about catching people out. And that's the thing. What you get these shows with is that people are so fake. People are so not real on there. And people now understand, you know what? That's not admirable. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million, sorry, well, maybe 60 million goes, you love the dinosaurs. That's a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Yeah, he's great. No, but the idea of Hollywood is dying. There is no. People do not look at people in Hollywood and go, oh, look how beautiful they are. They do. They look at how beautiful they are. Oh, these people are above us. They know now that they're just pieces of shit just like ourselves. They are. They're even worse. They're just narcissists. They're people who need gratification from everyone. And that gratification is now, they're losing it. They're losing it. And so this is the interesting fact about how these kind of shows are losing viewership, because people now have the internet, they have podcasts. And you know what? Hollywood stars can go on podcasts and they can be their genuine selves in there. And I think people get that. People look at them and go, yeah, that's kind of cool. That's them. Kevin Hart, I'm not the biggest fan of his comedy, but he goes on podcasts and he has a chat, and you kind of get a genuine feel with him. I'm not going to say I'm his biggest fan, but you rarely see Hollywood, figures go on podcasts and have a chat. Maybe to the exception of Will Smith and Jada, but again, their podcast is so controlled. It is literally just like another show. They need to have control on the podcast. They can't just sit there and spew. Is that what you do? What do you think about it? Do you think that Hollywood is now dying, or do you think people now there's so many stars that the market is liquidated, maybe, or what do you think? I'm just saying what I think. Again, I don't have facts to back it. Oh, Kennan's crying. Are they? Oh, they're both crying. Women, eh? Too emotional. You've only won $2 million. Um, yeah, the Hollywood has become so liquidated in that you now have so many stars in the world, so many heroes. If you think back to the 60s and 70s, heroes were sports stars, Hollywood stars, TV stars. That's about it. You didn't have anyone else. That's it. But now you have so many stars. You have local stars who are internet famous from doing one meme. You have sports stars, Hollywood stars, TV stars, YouTube stars. You have people who broke records by doing sailing. There's so many Dexter people who anything, people who make clothing, people who do anything. They become stars. They become famous for what they do, and they're appreciated more because they sometimes can be real. People on podcasts, anyone can set up a podcast. I'm fucking doing. Look what I'm doing right now. I'm talking in a microphone to myself. I'm talking to a microphone, but I'm essentially just talking to myself in my flat. My neighbour can probably hear me. I think they can actually. I think I freaked them out. I like to do that. I like to go up to the wall and just start going, neighbour, can you hear me, neighbour? I'm in your bathroom. But that's kind of creepy. Don't ever do that because they might have children and the children might cry. But yeah, so essentially, I just wanted to touch on base of what's happening there with Ellen. I think that's quite an interesting development in that story that she's losing viewership and that so are late shows. And I think it is kind of people are smarter now and they know what's fake and they know it's all cringe. Um, I think I would like to talk about that later on in a different kind of episodes, really about what TV means to people now, because TV has changed so much, and TV has been such a big part of my life. So, but I think if this continues, I'll definitely like to speak about that in a later episode. Talking of TV and film, I just watched a movie called The Social Dilemma. Has anyone seen that? Have you seen that? Fuck me. That's an interesting one. That is, it's on Netflix. I think it was released about a week ago, and it's. I'm not going to sit here and say it's hard hitting, but it does make you think. It does open your eyes a little bit further. I thought I knew quite a lot about social media, not as in like an expert on it, but I thought I knew like we all know that if you go online and you go on Google and you search for, say, for me recently, I looked for a new wallet. So I looked for a new wallet on Amazon, and then I logged onto my Facebook, and lo and behold, a couple of adverts for wallets came up, and everyone goes, "Oh, that's crazy! It's an algorithm. That's in place there." And I knew about these algorithms. I knew also with YouTube as well that they would come up with products for gaming because I was looking at the game store on my PlayStation, or I was looking at games to purchase for whatever, like Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite. I am not 12 years old anymore. Um, but I think we all understand that algorithm that is available, that is inherent in these social networks, same as Instagram and Twitter. But then you watch this film, and there's also in this it's a documentary, but there's also a story within it of this family, and you kind of they play off very well about how it affects you as a person and your decisions. And it's not as in decisions that are you have to make. So it's not like I need a wallet, so which one should I buy? It doesn't do that. What it does, it opens up, and I'm going to give a bit of spoilers, but it opens up questions. Yeah, if you don't want spoilers, just skip the next 5-10 minutes, okay? Because this opens up a couple of questions on our social media use. But what this does, it opens up the questions on what decisions do they make you decide. So they ultimately give you questions to answer. So, for example, I'm on Facebook and Lad Bible comes up and it says something about Trump supporters gather in a mass of 1,000 people, no social distancing. That's been selected from many articles because that's what Facebook thinks I should see. There is a word analysis on the article that says, say, Trump activists slammed for gathering in whatever, because they know that I am more of a liberal person. I look more on the side of the left. I'm not saying I'm extreme left, but I would say I look more on the left side, and I'm more of a liberal. Now, I don't give a fuck about either side of the fucking debate in America, but they think that if they show me this, this will give me some emotional response if I see that. That's what these social networks, and that's what they're saying here, is that they're trying to influence your decisions on what you make in life, whether that be in purchasing, from adverts to political stance. And that's the later part of the documentary where they say, you know, Facebook, Twitter, all them, they put these adverts up to make sure that you're influenced for the next election. And it's very interesting. I mean, do you think that? Do you think you go scrolling through your social networks, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and even if you're on, say, Instagram, sometimes you see your whoever you're following on Instagram, say some influencer, I hate that word influencer, but some fitness model, and they're a pro. Again, we're going to go extreme, a pro Trump supporter. You kind of look at them and go, oh, what are they saying? Because they're trying to influence you as a group, as an individual. So, say yourself, you're a young person, you're on the left side of the scale, you're liberal. They're trying to make you define your decisions on that one article or person. They show you these extreme views so that you are now more content to just think, well, fuck the right, fuck the Trump people, fuck everyone there. I'm going to stay on this side. And they also change the same for people who would be on the right. So people who are going to be older, in their 50s, 60s, people who are Republicans or conservatives, or conservatives in the UK, and they show adverts and people and influencers and products that would influence that side of the scale for them, because they know that they can influence them to vote on that side. And when it comes up to an election, the amount of advertising they put on each time, for each side, the amount of leverage they put on each side, depends on who the social network adheres for. And this is what this film basically explains about. And they gather all these experts and engineers from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I think WhatsApp as well. And they discuss about the intricacies of what these social networks do not take into accountability of. And it's a very powerful film to look at. And it also in itself does mean you have to question yourself on social media use, on what you do and how you play it and your decisions that you make. But it's kind of scary. And at the end of the film, I thought it was quite significant when all these people who worked in social media, they were like, I don't use social media. My kids don't use social media. I only let my kids use it after they're 15, 16. A lot of them were against social media use. And it does make you think, and you kind of go, oh, Jesus, you know what? I might need to delete Facebook. I might need to think about my usage on Instagram. Because they also influence you to use social media more by adverts, by games, by people who you interact with. There's so many things that are it's a brainstorm of what social media does. This is from the film itself. I would like to see a film that debates this. That would probably be made by Mark Zuckerberg. Let's take a guess. Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Susan Wojcicki, whatever her name is, the woman who runs YouTube. I bet they would all love to do an argument against this to say, no, 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 we take into account everything, we take accountability for all, and we do not believe that we influence people. Bullshit. Complete bullshit. But again, I've only seen one side of the argument. I want to see the other. I'm a devil's advocate. I want to see both sides. So I thought I'd just talk about that film just briefly. Again, I would like to talk about that more. Obviously, I mean, I don't want to be by myself the whole time talking to a fucking microphone. I'd rather speak to someone else about it. But what it does bring some ideas to your head on what your social media use is, on what you're being influenced by, and that's social media is really kind of the extravagant viewpoint of people on soapboxes back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. People who would go out in the street and say, communism is the way, whether you're in Poland or whatever, or whatever political party, people on soapboxes who would shout out and give out leaflets. This is kind of their way of really intuitively going into your mind. And the worst thing is, you don't know what's happening sometimes. You don't know that it's there. You don't know that it's been there put as a purpose. You think it's just a random article that you found. I think one of the best examples was if you go into Google and you type in, so wherever you're based, you go into Google and you type in climate change is, wherever you are in the world, that'll come up with a different result and different search results because that is what is tailored to you. That is what they want you to see. So if I was to type in climate change now, I'll go into Google just now. So I'm going to type into Google climate change. I think it was climate change is, yeah, so the climate change is the greatest threat debate. The biggest challenge is an existential, I can't say that, I can't say that, I've got speech therapy for that. Climate change is too late, is a real shirt, is a nightmare. So from my viewpoint, I see this, and I agree with a lot of these things. Climate change is the greatest threat. I do believe that. I believe in climate change. I believe that we need to stop it and in sustainability. I believe it's a threat. I believe it's a nightmare. Is there hope for climate change? I do believe there is. Climate change issue, climate change caused by. These are all things that I agree with, and Google has thought about that, and that, well, this is what they want to look for, which is smart because that is what I would like to look for. But if I was a non-believer in climate change, if I didn't believe it was a threat, and I lived in, say, Alabama in the US, not I'm saying anything about Alabama, but someone else could type that in and they would get different search results. And that's kind of the example they use of how they can manipulate your opinion. And it's a very basic example, but it's quite symbolic, as we can almost reflect that back to the protest, that it can be a symbol that we misinterpret for however we want to go ahead with our lives. So yeah, I would definitely recommend to watch that film. It's very, very interesting. It's very, it kind of is kind of Black Mirror-esque, which Black Mirror is amazing. But definitely give it a watch because it'll definitely question a lot about your life and what your influences and decisions are made on. What time we come up? It's 5 to 4. I've been talking. Sorry. I've been talking to you for the last hour and 40 minutes. If you're still listening, I am so proud of you. Well done. I would be bored by now. But I mean, let me know. Like, if you want to discuss any of this, like as I said, I've set up this podcast just as a bit of a laugh, bit of a discussion between myself and this microphone and you. If you want to have a conversation, you can get in contact with me, and I'd love to have some people on here and just have a conversation about. If you want to talk about anything I've discussed here, come on board. Give me a message. KBeatbot. I guess it's time now, whilst Swiatek is congratulating every single person in the stadium. I love these player speeches after a tennis match. They go, I'd like to thank this person, this person, this person, this person, like every single person in the world. It's like, look, we get it, mate. We knew you're number one. Just, we know you've won. Calm down. It's come to that time. I'm going to do some swiping on Tinder and Hinge. So I thought this would be funny, just to kind of go through a few profiles on each app. Um, I am single. I'm looking for a wife. I'm joking there. I like to just kind of go. I don't usually speak to anyone on these. I just kind of go on there just to laugh. And I am a straight male. Sorry, guys. Okay, but I like to go on and just have a little swipe and read the bios and read the questions and answers they give because some of them are hilarious and we can critique them. Now, before I go ahead with this, I'm not sitting here saying that girls are the worst on this, okay? I know men are, okay? But women, you're just as bad, okay? So shut the fuck up. Let's do this. Let's have a bit of fun. I'm gonna get the bell. I'm gonna ring the bell every time someone has been deleted from the chat, okay? Bear with me. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go with which one? Tinder or Hinge? Tinder or Hinge? Tinder or Hinge? I'm gonna go with Tinder first because I think Tinder, the bios you have to make up yourself. With Hinge, you actually get questions you have to answer. So there's gonna be some content there anyway. So we've got a bell. Every time, what should we say? Every time we swipe right, we ring the bell. Okay? Um, and every time I describe the profile, you have to guess if I swipe right or left. I'm going to give a description of what they look like. I will be brutal. I don't give a fuck. I'll give them a description of what they look like. I'll just say their first name, although it's only their first name, and their bio, and what I think they look like. So we're going to start off with Tinder. Facebook login. Oh, 2 seconds. Okay, right, good. First person we've got up is Snow. She has two pictures of her. She looks quite good. She's of Asian descent, I would say. She is. Her name is Snow as well. Like that's a cool name. And she has in her bio. She's 26. In her bio, she says keywords: Chinese, vegan, master student, cooking, drawing, and outdoor exercise, kickboxing. She can kick the shit out of me. I think she looks kind of innocent in her photos, but I think she would absolutely destroy me. Has she got a tattoo on her neck? She's got pretty tattoos all over her body. There's only two pictures of her. I think this is a fake profile. Fake profile, no. Get a lot of them. Next we've got Mandy. Mandy's quite good looking. She's alright. Um, Mandy. Looking for a husband to be a dad to my cats. Cats are plural. I think anyone that has cats, plural, are crazy. Mandy does look quite good. The pictures of her are. I think she might be a secret chub. A secret chub. I mean, when they just it's pictures of their face only. That's I think a secret chub, isn't it? And I'm not a fan of the chub too much. I like a girl with a bit of ooh, but no, I think Mandy needs to go. Sorry, Mandy. Okay, it was fun with lasted. Kimberly. Um, Kimberly. This is the classic Kimberly is the classic. She looks okay, but her pictures are just again blurred. Can't see her. Got her Snapchat. See, I'll discuss in a sec because a profile will come up with what I'm going to discuss in a second here. Claire, right, who's she got? Oh my God, we've got a bio here. Claire has all selfies. So do you think we're going to go with that? She's got a cool picture of a dog. Claire has all selfies. Claire is, I'm not going to say she's the prettiest, but I mean, she's not bad. I'm not going to say no to Claire there on the looks front. Although, actually, she might be catfishing there. Oh, she could be a catfish. Okay, right, let's read her bio. The bio is very important. My dog is cooler than yours. I don't have a fucking dog, Claire, so my dog's dead. Working in nursery. Okay. Dog mum. So she's mentioned her dog twice. No doubt that she doesn't like her dog. Love holidays. Everyone fucking does. Cheesy music, right? Going to the theatre. Looking to settle down. And then she's got a picture of 4 kids. So she wants 4 kids. Do you think I should, with Claire? I mean, I think she might be catfishing me, but she does look okay in some. She loves her dog and she wants 4 kids and she likes. I'm gonna say no to Claire. I'm gonna say no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Claire. You're missing out on a good husband there. I want a swipe right. I want a match. We have Rhiannon next. Rhiannon. She's okay. Rhiannon is a bit of a chub, but she's quite pretty. She's got a parrot and one. She's got all selfies, and you can't see her body. She's one of them. But let's read her bio. Her bio's long as well. She's a bartender, so we have something in common. I'm new to this online dating. That's what they all say. That's what they all fucking say. And then you see them 6 years later with the same fucking tag. I'm not looking for a one night stand. Again, that's what they all say. I'm looking for a genuine relationship to see how things go. I mean, you can't have a genuine relationship to see how things go. If you have a genuine relationship, it has to be going somewhere. There is like a contract to it almost. I'm a fun-loving girl. Well, you don't because you don't like one-night stands, do you? I'm not saying that you have to, but who enjoys life to its fullest? Bullshit. She likes alcohol. When not working, I enjoy socializing. Yeah, well, there you go. She loves alcohol. She likes going out and partying. Eating out. Yeah, you definitely like eating, don't you? And generally having a good time. Very fitting anthem of the moment. Young, wild, and free. Right. Ha ha ha. I don't like people who put ha 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 as when they're speaking to themselves. No. No, it's a no for me, Rihanna. I'm sorry. JJ. JJ is. I can't. Her photos are a bit weird. She's got massive breasts, but then she could be fat. I can't see it. I'm going to say no to JJ. Sorry, JJ. There's not enough evidence of a good girl. MPS. Okay, MPS. She's also Asian descent, I would say. She's also 9,576 kilometers away. She likes cats. Again, plural cats. I need to put the I need to put the. How do you put the settings on to make them closer? I think 9,000 kilometers is. Is that even in Earth? Is that on the moon? Right, MPS. 2020 is suck. 2020 is suck. Brilliant. The virus is boring. Okay, so she's getting to the point. I'm here to make friends first and see where that goes. Oh God, she's one of them. I will write you back ASAP. Oh, well, that's nice. I mean, she wants to be a pen pal. P.S. No dirty talk. That's a no from me, MPS. Anya. Anya's not the best looking human I've seen, but she's not a chub. She's okay. Doing a PhD in sustainability. So she's a PhD. She's very smart, which might be a disadvantage because I'm very cheeky, very humorous-ish. Not humorous, but I like to play games. So she might be too smart for me to play my games with. Doing a PhD in sustainability. So let's hug some trees. Oh, good. See you. Bye. 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 Another Claire. There's too many Claires in this world. We need to put a lot of Claires down. Claire. Oh, Claire looks alright. Oh, Claire looks actually pretty fine. Okay, Claire's on a strong start here. She's got a glass of wine in hand. It's not all selfies, although she's wearing the same thing a lot of them, so she could be fake. She's 6 kilometers away. That's good. She's got a purple heart. It says horror films, wine, coffee, a little bit of weirdness. You know what, Claire? Yeah, you know what? Claire's gonna win it. She's 29 as well. She's my age. Claire is a winner. Claire is through. Right, okay. We've got someone called Tori, super like. No, she's gone. Okay, 86. Right, next one. Tori's gone. Kirsty. Kirsty is another chub. There's so many chubs on Tinder. There's so many chubs. Not that I'm saying you're not beautiful, okay? I still would do a chub, okay? Kirsty, chub. She has the biggest bio in the world. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's read this. If you could erase one program from your memory and watch it all over again. What? If you could erase one program from your memory and watch it all over again, what would it be? One program. Um, what would you erase? One program from my memory and watch it all over again. I mean, does she mean one episode, or I'm gonna cheat and say a series? And for me, I'm gonna say Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Let's just do that. Uh, what will you think? Program series? I think Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, because I mean that was such a key series for me as a childhood. I still watch it on repeat sometimes now. If any of you say Friends, get the fuck out. Okay, Friends is not funny. No, actually, Friends is not bad, but it's just too cheese. Early years educator, nursery teacher. Okay, we get that. Young farmer, country bumpkin. Okay, well you're definitely you got some bumps on you. Yeah. 90s dance music upset. Oh, it's all this cheesy music, isn't it? Dog lover again. Every girl. Your and you are have two different meanings. Don't piss me off. Okay, yeah, sure. If you call me babe, expect to be blocked. Babe. I quite like babe. But like only if you're in a committed relationship. I wouldn't call you babe straight away. Yeah, I need to be with you for like at least a year. Call you babe or pet names. But then you just said you're a country bumpkin, so why and you're a young farmer, so why don't you be called babe? Oh, she's hanging around with that guy from Pointless. I met him once in King's Cross. Long story. Right, no. She's a no. I want one more positive, and then we'll go to Hinge. Naima, she's a baker. She looks alright. She's a bit weird looking, but she looks alright. She's got no bio. I'm gonna say no. We want some bios. I'll find someone with a bio. No, no. Give me a bio. Give me a bio. Right, here we go. Nick. Nick is 29. Nick is actually quite pretty. I think she looks like a mum. She looks like a mum. She looks tired. She looks pissed off at everyone. Yeah, okay, so Nick, 29, 42 kilometers away. So that's doable. We can do that. Non-smoker. I think that's important for some people. I don't smoke, and sometimes smoke isn't a good thing to have around. So yeah, I agree with that. But again, if you smoke, I don't give a fuck. Mum to a beautiful girl. I was right. Okay, she looked. I don't care about that. I don't care if you're a mum to whoever. Just don't be pumping the dad too much. Enjoy a night out, visiting new places and chilling. You know, Nick is actually quite good looking. She's blonde. She's got dark eyes. I'm gonna say yes to Nick. Okay, come on. We can't be waiting here for ages. Let's go, Nick. There we go. Right. We've done that one. Let's go on to Hinge. So we've got. They didn't even match with me as well, so there's no way I'm going to match with them. This will be the final one. We'll go on to Hinge. So Hinge is a little bit different. So Hinge, you have questions to answer about yourself. So you get these people who just put the most random shit. It's actually quite funny. I find it quite funny. Okay, so first up we've got Jillian. Jillian is. Oh, she looks like a lot of fun. She's blonde. She's curvaceous. She doesn't have a lot of stuff. She actually looks quite good. She's in Forfar. It's a wee bit far away, but I can do it. She's white Caucasian. I mean, she's got a lot of tan on, but we'll take it. Anyway, typical Sunday. If I'm feeling fresh, out for lunch and a walk somewhere or cinema. This is her typical Sunday. Sunday sesh if it's a bank holiday weekend. Of course, she looks like that kind of gal. Not feeling fresh, Netflix and takeaway. I think everyone does that. I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. She's a stewardess. Okay. Her next one is I get along best with people who down to earth can rip the shit out of each other. You know what? I'm down with that. Not a total player, so that means she is, but okay. Got their shit together. And she's also erased the shit, the I and shit out with a hashtag because she's not that kind of gal. Okay, that's fine. And then finally we've got her. She's got some leopard print dress on. She's actually a bit wild. Okay. And the thing with Hinge is you can see who's liked you as well, so that's the thing. So it's a bigger sacrifice to make. Lastly, we've got I'm weirdly attracted to Glaswegian accents. Well, I've got a weird French accent. No, Nick sounds like a lot of fun. I think she would hurt me though. So I'm going to say no to Nick. Sorry, Nick. Next up, we've got Lucy. She's got a picture saying, comment if you've been here, and it's literally her next to some grass. I've not been there. I mean, I could have been. I mean, it's grass, probably. First thing, something that's non-negotiable for me is if you're not funny, get out of here. Out of here. Okay? That's not me. She's kind of cool. She's from Dublin. Oh, she's Irish. She's got her sitting in a bar, her sitting in a hammock. The most controversial opinion is Joker is wildly overrated. Ooh. Ooh. What do we think about that? Joker is wildly overrated. Ooh. I think Joker is a very good movie. A very good movie. I liked how vulnerable Joaquin was in that, and how he showed that the Joker was just a broken human being. But is it overrated? Ooh, I can see debates on each side. I always look at it that way. But Joker is a very good movie, so that's controversial. But that's the most controversial opinion. English. That is her most controversial opinion. So we'll I like that. I actually like that. She's got a picture of her and a rat. That's a skinless rat. Okay, fair enough. I take pride in my incredible taste in music. Fair enough. She just looks a little bit too. She would hate me. She would hate me because I'm too generic for her. I think she looks a little bit more hippie-esque. So she looks like a good girl, but it's a no from me. Sorry, Nick. Oh, we've got an update. Gemma and Calvin, we think you two should meet. So they think this is again linked to the social dilemma. They think Gemma is my kind of gal. Let's have a look at Gemma. So Gemma is blonde, long hair, blue eyes, or green eyes, I think. She looks good. Her pictures are mostly her face. Yeah, no, she looks good. Okay, most spontaneous thing I've done. Had a few days of so few days of so went to oh, it should be off with two S, but it's off. Had a few days off, so went to Paris. Okay, I mean that is spontaneous. Yeah, no, I can understand that is spontaneous. She's 5'11". She's a tall one. She's got a picture of her in a microwave. I want someone who can treat me like Massimo would in the bedroom. Massimo? Who's Massimo? What's Massimo? Massimo? If that's a Greek thing, I literally just finished reading the Greek Apollodorus, so if that is something I've missed. Massimo? It's a Spanish clothes manufacturing company. Does anyone know what Massimo is in the bedroom? It's a Spanish clothes company. No idea. Okay, well, I think this girl's drunk. Or hi. What? And that's all she's got. Oh no, she's got another one. Where's she? The key to my food is food. The key to my heart is food. Okay. I'm gonna say no to Gemma. Sorry, Gemma. I need someone a little bit more. We need a like. I need to like someone. Right, Hillary. Hillary's first picture is her. Well, there's two of them, so I don't know which one she is. She's got some flowers around her hair. She's a cute girl. Both of them are cute, so I'll do either of them. I'll fall for you if you've got a decent dog. A dog. It's always about the fucking dog. Dog and Instagram. Here's the thing. I just want to quickly talk about. Whenever you go onto these profiles, right, and sometimes the girls and guys, I assume, would link their Instagram accounts and say, "Message me on this. Message me on Instagram." Now, does that ever fucking work? Do girls like sit there and they get a random DM from a random guy who's going, "Hey baby, yeah, you want to hang out? You want to go out and get some drinks?" No, it doesn't fucking work. They're just exploiting you for the follows. They're just looking, they're looking for the clout. Do men do this as well? Because women do it a lot. They literally put their Snapchat, Instagram, so you can follow them. It's crazy. And it's also the same with dogs. Every fucker likes a dog. You can't go wrong with a dog. Some people don't like dogs, as in they're scared of them. That's a fear. Everyone likes a dog. I like cats, but I also like dogs. I would never go wrong with a dog. No. Sorry, Hillary. Anyway, what we like about Hillary so far? So you've got a decent dog. What's a decent dog as well? Like what? You've got a whole dog? Like you've got a dog with 2 legs or 3 legs, or a decent dog, not a Chihuahua. Chihuahuas are shite. Okay. What a German Shepherd. She's 32, so she's my age. She lives in Edinburgh. That's good. Which one is she? Oh, I see. Oh, she's actually the one I preferred. Yeah, I prefer that one. So she's brunette. She's got thick lips. She's brown eyes. She went to the same university as me. She went to the University of Aberdeen. She's doing well. She's got a margarita in hand in one of her pictures. Like that. My simple pleasures: getting out to the country for quiet walks, road trips, the outdoors, log fires, and no people. Oh, I agree with that. Often found in D&G. What's D&G? D&G? Is that like a... Is that a game? What? D&G? D... Sorry, I'm just... D&G. Auto care. That's Dolce and Gabbana. Right. Is that... I often found in Dolce and Gabbana. Is that right? Okay, she's got a cool hat. She's at the rugby. She's doing well. She's doing very strong. I want someone who has chat and can make me laugh. I can't do that. Someone up for adventure days and chilled out days. I can do the chilled days. Her next picture is her in a lawnmower and her in a bikini, and she looks damn fine. Damn fine. I think I'm gonna like Hillary. Do you think I should like Hillary? She does look good. She does look good. She's got brown hair. As I've said, she knows how to dress well. She sounds like a good girl. Hillary, I'm gonna like you, and I'm gonna like you. Get to like a certain part of the profile. I'm gonna like her riding a lawnmower. There's her riding a lawnmower. I'm gonna like that. I'm gonna say in my comment, I'm gonna put, "Are you trimming your bush?" Send like. So we've got Hillary as a like, and we will just conclude that section of the podcast. And you know what? Well, actually, I think that's about all we've got. That's all the topics I had. How long is it now? 2 hours. 2 hours of chat from just me, just rambling away. I mean, if you've listened to me rambling away for this whole time, well done. I'm really proud of you. Like you should give yourself a pat on the back. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back. That's really impressive. Well done. I've actually enjoyed this. This has actually been quite interesting. It's a bit weird that it's just me talking to a microphone, but I think we discussed a few things that are relevant and that are not, like the Tinder. But um, yeah, I think a few things got off my chest, and why don't you talk to me as well? Give me a question. Give me give me a statement. Give me anything. Just give me a comment. Just talk to me if you want. Reach out to me. So KBeatbot is my YouTube channel. Give me a comment on the video. It should be uploaded as a video, I think. Hopefully, if I'm able to try. I'm really bad with technology, so technology might not work my way. I will upload this on Spotify. Hopefully, be under the name of KBeatbot or something along those lines. I'll update it. And yeah, thanks for listening. As I said, reach out and I'll try and release this again, another kind of one man, one mic thing, hopefully in the future. As I said, I want to do this the next 2 weeks to a month, so hopefully, in that time it'll be come up to November, so rather than just the bars closed, everything will be closed, even shops and pharmacies, everything will be closed. It'll be just us fighting for squirrels in the meadows. So, on that happy note, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And as I said, reach out to me. All the best, and au revoir, because I'm French. Bye bye.